This means that maybe in the near future we might see these robots as well in Germany or all around the world. And once again, I would like to talk to you about our Lord and Savior, the almighty NFT.
Musk is talking about taking the company private. Musk is talking about free speech and therefore no ads. YouTube is really successful with YouTube Shorts. 30 billion views a day.
They talk about 100,000 satellites or more, which is huge compared to Starlink was talking about, I think, 40,000. They catch the falling rocket with a helicopter.
Hi and welcome to episode 24 of the Tech Review. Every 2 weeks we gather to discuss the hottest topics in science, technology and innovation. And on camera 3 today we have Vincent, on camera 2 we have Enrique, and on camera 1 this is me. Hi, I'm Tarek. Chris is missing today. This is very, very sad because usually I think he's usually always here, right?
Yeah, did he ever miss one tech review? I'm not sure.
It's really been a while since we had to skip him in the introduction. Okay. Let's dive right into the news. I did not reload. Where is it? So, who's going to start today? It's me. Okay, fine. I mean, we are only 3 people, so chances were good that I'm going to start. Exactly. So, my first article is about cool robots. Oh, okay.
There it is.
Yeah, now I have. Okay, there we go. Okay, right. So, cool robots. This article I like very much because I'm not sure if you're aware of these Gundam robots from the Japanese animes. They kind of look like this. And if you take a look right now at some construction works in Japan, you might see these robots because they are used there for for maintenance of power lines on the railway system. And it's basically a very simple concept. They built these robots for dangerous work where they say we need to increase productivity and safety of our workers. And so they created these robots and very, very cool styling, and their head looks a little bit like Wall-E from the Disney movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's very sweet. The cool thing is that the operator of this robot wears a VR headset, and he moves with these hand controllers the arms and the hands of this robot, and it's mounted on a crane. And so this is a very, very cool example with what you can do with robotics and VR today. And I think the arms are even force feedback supported. So the controller actually feels the weight and the resistance of the material that he's grabbing and moving around. And so it is kind of like, let's say, immersive technology. That's sad that we don't have Chris with us today because he would probably cheer for that. It's still a prototype. They are testing it right now in Japan, and they plan to roll out this kind of robot in 2024, I think I read. And this means that maybe in the near future, we might see these robots as well in Germany, or let's say all around the world. And I said Gundam because this Japanese anime, it looks kind of this robot with this robot suit and everything. And of course, little different head. But this is exactly what you would expect from Japanese robots.
maybe more crazy colors.
Right.
Yeah. But actually seeing this, like my first thought is, okay, why haven't we done this earlier? I mean, this totally makes sense to make use of this for these kind of work, but also like in general, like,
of course,
yeah, it looks like it's from a movie, but like, why actually? It's actually so obvious.
Exactly. I think so too. I mean, we already do this with like bomb disposals, like the police and military. They have robots to clear minefields and dispose bombs. This is obvious, but there are so many different dangerous kinds of works that need to be handled, and probably these robots are simply expensive, and so on the standard construction side they won't bring in these very expensive robots. But if technology gets a little bit more cheaper and robots become more and more standardized tech, and especially now with the emergence of VR technology and maybe force feedback servos or something like that. It might be something that we see every day. I'm not sure. I think you didn't see Westworld, right? I think I asked last time because
still not.
In
Still
season
not.
3 of Westworld, they have robots like this as well. They look a little bit different, but the idea was the same thing, that people who are working on construction sites, they use these like avatar style robots. They walk around and lift heavy things, and the controller steers them with like brain implants or something like that. So the people who are working on the construction sites are basically robot operators, so that they can lift steel rods and stuff. Yeah, but I was really happy to read this article because, as you said, Henrike, it looks so obvious. Why didn't we do it earlier?
It seems that dangerous work is the key here, because I also wanted to mention bomb disposal, stuff like that. I think we also have this kind of control over robots in the military when it comes to drones. I think that drones are also steered with VR headsets now, and controllers, like with specific feedbacks for the different controls. So maybe we should, call more work dangerous. Maybe not only short term, but also very long term kind of. I mean, I'm for real. I'm not joking. Yes, short-term work like bomb disposal or working with high voltage energy, this is dangerous, very short-term. But now think of stuff that, like, let's talk about natural resources that we're mining, for example, talking about mines and stuff like that. This is really, really dangerous work in long term because it's really bad for your body. So, like, I mean, inhaling the stuff there for your back, stuff like that. So let's think about these things and think like, okay, well, this is really dangerous. Maybe a long-term investment such as robots would really help there. And then maybe we get somewhere. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah. Also, like bringing in the cost aspect, right? I mean, on the one hand, you have the cost for technology. On the other hand, you have the cost of like the health of the people. Life. And if something happens, life. Yeah. I mean, this is an aspect that, comes into play.
Yeah, and that's probably like a sad reality, because if you ask how much a human life is worth, usually you say, you can't measure it. Human life can't be measured in money. But if you take a look at these robots, there is probably a price tag where people say, my human labor is still cheaper than actually buying this very expensive robot. And somewhere you find the price tag when it starts reaching the value of a human life.
Sad but true. Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole different discussion, but with the potential return of nuclear energy now as a bridge energy until we have renewable stuff, maybe robots will play a bigger role. I mean, looking at handling the radioactive materials, stuff like that. Yeah. Who knows?
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember, didn't we talk like 2 tech reviews ago about fusion power, the new emergence of fusion power that is now possible because we have AI controlling this plasma flow system. Yeah, this becomes feasible as well. And but as I said, bridge technology, nuclear technology, sad but true. Okay, let's check if my browser now allows me to jump to the next article, which comes from Vincent.
Oh, yeah. Which one is it? Okay. So this article, basically, Henrike has the same one, I'm pretty sure. So this article is about Twitter being bought by Elon Musk, as we all know, or on its path to be bought by Elon Musk if approved. And the big question behind it is, like, how are they going to make money? I mean, Musk is talking about taking the company private. Musk is talking about free speech and therefore no ads, because ads and brand safety, of course, control what's being said on a specific platform. And this article deals with all the different things. And if you can scroll down, I think there are 6 options from taking the company private so that there is not that kind of investor push on we need more revenue, which therefore would come into play when when we're talking about how much money Twitter has to make in order to be attractive for investors. Also, there is the idea of not advertising as some kind of cost reduction, because of course a lot of people work at Twitter due to the fact that there has to be tech, sales, management of advertising, and all of that will, go away. So if you want to frame it in the hard way, it's, well, layoffs. And that of course also will come to, okay, how much money is Twitter actually making? Twitter also, so this article really looks at all the different features of Twitter. The third one is that Twitter could also increase subscriptions. So right now you have ultra subscriptions for like people who really want to know more about their creator. But this idea is that everybody who has this check mark of being a real person could pay for that. Also, everybody who uses Twitter could also pay for that. The question then, of course, arises, is this also not a problem with free speech? But, well, that is another aspect. And then I think there's also the idea of, if you scroll down a bit more, sorry, there are too many. Yeah, right. And then we could also talk about, like, since Twitter is so much embedded into different articles of different websites, et cetera, you could also charge third parties to embed Twitter. And that actually is one of the main ideas that Musk already mentioned himself. So this is something people are right now looking at as probably some kind of go-to. And this also would fall into place in order with free speech, because as we all know from the Leistungsschutzrecht here at Axel Springer, that if you have something, you own something as a platform, and it is used somewhere else to, let's say, make a point, well, you probably should pay for that. And this idea is really coming along with this because, well, Twitter owns the content on its platform, and if you want to use it, well, why not pay for it? And this could be something that could replace ads. However, last sentence, ads right now make 98% of Twitter's revenue at the moment. So yeah, it is still, it's a leap. It's a stretch to replace that. It's a really interesting article.
Crazy, because I was not sure what Elon Musk is going to change now that he's taken over control of Twitter. And my first impulse was, he was kind of pissed what happened, and he's just doing this for his ego or something. But then I learned that he was replacing the board, and he was so fast in doing executive decisions and changing things that I was really surprised. And now that he's going, I mean, he won't be like the CEO, but the main shareholder. And so I'm really curious to see if he changes the company in terms of profitability, or if he says, okay, let's not go right into profitability. Let's make it like a cost center, but make it awesome. Bring out great features and invest and build new Twitter-based technologies. But I'm not sure. Yeah, and as you said, if you now introduce new, let's call it money-grabbing profitability things, I'm not sure in which direction the face of Twitter will actually evolve. And in the past, I already had this experience where I wanted to take advantage of the Twitter API for programmatic processing of tweets. And they already are kind of expensive the moment you use it for something else than posting tweets. So if you are, as a company, want to utilize Twitter API, you have to pay every month like thousands of euros. So it's not cheap to actually do business with Twitter.
I think so, but this is, I think, the kind of solutions that Twitter will go to, because as you said, I also thought, well, it's an ego thing, but it really, like, everybody is capitalizing right now on this free speech aspect.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think they will do anything possible. Twitter will do anything possible to really focus on free speech, and making Twitter a pay-to-play platform or make Twitter a partially freemium platform would really contradict this idea of Twitter moving more into the direction of free speech or freer speech. I mean, this is a whole other discussion. And therefore, I think Twitter will do exactly that. So I think people, I think the party which loses the most is the B2B part of the Twitter relations. I think that's the place where really Twitter will try to earn more money.
Elon Musk is always generating news, whatever he is touching, either by implanting brain implants or flying to Mars or, I don't know, spontaneously buy one of the most influential companies on this planet, right? It's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought this article with you because I didn't. But I think, Tarek, we talked about it last week or something. I was like, too bad our next tech review is a week from now, and that's when it was, and now that he's able to buy it. But yeah, then also like, who knows what will be the news in a week from now, like what he bought then, if it's still like Twitter or is it like something completely different. So it's interesting to follow along how this evolves now, and also some of the aspects in this article, like if I read like this charging for tweet embeds, like will websites continue using it? I mean, they probably then just stop using it. You can quote, like, refer to Twitter. You do not need to embed the tweet necessarily, if So this, I don't know if some of them really then will continue, or if people just go away from Twitter in that sense.
I mean, so I think that is 100% true. I mean, what he does is not only a controversy, but I think what we do with Elon Musk is that we highlight a lot of the stuff he's doing, but the effects of this, also especially negative effect, we don't highlight. So for example, in order to buy Twitter, he had to sell, I think, 4 billion shares in the worth of $4 billion for Tesla. And that actually turned out to make the company lose a lot of money at the stock market after he did that, because a lot of investors were pissed about this. And I think Tesla lost worth equal to the whole company of Mercedes. So it was quite a bump. And I think it's the same here. I think that the consequence of, for example, not like making people charge for Twitter embeds will definitely have its effect on the way we communicate in the news sector. And Henrike, I agree with you. If I were a journalist and I would have to pay now for all the embeds, I'd either try to negotiate something that works out, or I would just stop using this.
Yeah, it might cause another ripple effect on the market, because for so long, Twitter was the only real place for microblogging, because everyone was using Twitter, and especially with all the politicians and influencers who really pushed Twitter to be a major communications platform, there was not really room for anyone else entering it. And you had like Telegram or WhatsApp for personal communication, or Facebook for social media, but microblogging, I call it microblogging, it might be a very old term, was always Twitter. And maybe now, as you said, the time is over and new players smell like blood and say, okay, now that people might actually leave Twitter, there's room to conquer this market with alternative platforms. Or maybe it's actually Facebook or the others who say, okay, maybe we now introduce some kind of microblogging, high performance small message feature with public feeds or so that could kill Twitter. Because as with Clubhouse, if you have this one particular feature that is not unique anymore for this particular platform, you might kill it. Fun fact, Twitter tried to buy Clubhouse, I think also for $4 billion last year, and they failed. They were not able to take over, and so maybe now Twitter is dying for sure.
They launched, I think, just a few months ago, their Clubhouse feature. So it took like a full year to do this, or longer actually. And LinkedIn, for example, they started also developing one of these Clubhouse features, and then they stopped because they didn't feel it's necessary anymore. So
people don't use it, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
nobody cares.
The public relationship department of Clubhouse, they are still reporting that the registration line for new users on Clubhouse is still 10 million users long. So they removed this invite-only feature. It's not a topic for today, actually, on the roadmap, but since we are talking about Clubhouse, they removed this this invite-only mechanism, and everyone can now register, but they are still bottlenecked. They can't register everyone at all and at the same time. And so they created this waiting queue, and there are like 10 million people still in this waiting queue. And so it looks like it's a very desirable platform, but I agree, I don't hear from anyone actually using Clubhouse for anything. So I'm not sure how successful they actually are.
The question is, can you remove yourself from the waiting list once you're on there? Because you cannot really log out of Clubhouse once you logged in.
Probably not, yeah.
So maybe those people are actually not interested anymore, but still in the queue.
Yeah, I guess exactly this thing. People entered their email address, and so Clubhouse is proud of their waiting list, but nobody can leave. Yeah, and the hype will be over the moment the waiting list is out. Next article, I bet it's for Henrike. Yes.
Ah, okay.
What a surprise. Which one is it? Oh, yeah. All right, so I brought two space-related articles today. First one being about yet another satellite mega constellation, but one that claims to be sustainable, which I found quite funny. I mean, besides OneWeb and Starlink, now I think it's called eSpace, is working on a satellite network, also in low Earth orbit. What I found astonishing is that they talk about 100,000 satellites or more, which is huge compared to Starlink was talking about, I think, 40,000 satellites in total. OneWeb is below 1,000, but like they now claim that this is going to be a sustainable one because they plan that these network, like the small satellites or spacecrafts being part of this network, also capture space debris before they deorbit when their lifetime is over. So on their way back, they would then capture some of the space junk that is floating around and take it with them back home, so to say. So this is one aspect that, makes it sustainable, according to Greg Wyler. But interestingly, they do not talk about how this is actually going to work at this point. They still say the whole technology behind is still protected and everything. But yeah, this should be the mechanism. But beyond that, they also say that the satellites will automatically deorbit themselves if they have like a malfunction or something to reduce the risk of collides in their network if that happens. And the funny thing in the end of this article was that he compared this whole system to oysters in the river or the ocean. The more oysters you have, the cleaner the water is, because oysters clean the river. He says like the more satellites, the cleaner space, so to say, because it always brings down some of the debris. Yeah, this can be discussed whether this is like a fair comparison or not, but it's quite interesting that there's still a market for another huge space satellite system in low Earth orbit, first of all, and then also still, I mean, they include the discussion of we have to get rid of space debris. This is still an issue, but say, even though we now launch 100,000 more, we won't have that much more junk up there because we bring it back home with us, which, yeah, I don't know if they can achieve that in the end, but it's an interesting take, at least.
Yeah, I think it's a necessary step because it really gets crowded up there, and create something like additional value for your satellites is important to keep society motivated to fire up more stuff, because the more space junk you have up there, the less, I guess, the less safe are satellites or even manned spacecraft, right? And so I think this is the only way to go. But as you said, I really can't imagine how many more satellites we can place there. I mean, the sky is big, but talking about 10,000s in this network and then 10,000 in the next network. And I guess there will be more services that require satellites. And so we will fire up more and more satellites up there. Who coordinates this?
I have another question regarding this. I thought the same about Starlink, but my question more or less is, who decides that? I mean, yes, there are laws that work about like what can you put into the sky, but I mean, 100,000 satellites that affects us all. Okay, they take threat debris with them. They don't. They stay up there. They don't. I mean, I'm sure this is another business we haven't, approached yet. But I'm very sure there will be a startup that at one point catches debris and and cleans the sky. But this is something else. Yeah, I'm just thinking somebody with the resources to develop 100,000 satellites and shoot them into the sky. Like, if we decide this today, who do we approach? Is there anybody who can say like, well, that's maybe too much? Because I don't feel like there is. So people with enough resources, say billionaires who, I don't know, seem to have nothing else to do than shoot themselves into the sky, they could just put satellites up there and at just one weird night, I don't know, a point at the night, I look into the sky and see 100,000 satellites lining themselves up to then, go into their final destination. It's weird, but who decides this? Where are the regulations?
It's a good question. I'm sure if we Google it, we find an answer to that. But especially if you want to coordinate with Russia and China and India, I'm not sure if they are always open for some kind of US-based regulation, right? And first would be probably NASA, who has a overview about everything up there, but not everyone is reporting to NASA.
And I mean, we saw that last year when Russia shot one of their satellites without notifying anyone and just, produced more debris. But also, with regards to this technology, what I now think would be necessary in that case, that what happens if one of the satellites has to deorbit because of malfunction and on this way back down collides with others because there is already space junk around? Or will they still capture some of the space debris? Will this mechanism somehow be a double secured in order to ensure that this will happen nonetheless or not? That would be actually really an added value if they can make sure no matter what happens, if they're deorbit because their lifetime is over or if they have a malfunction and have to deorbit, this is the most important priority, that they will take down space junk, which I bet it's not, but that would be really necessary. And especially because there's so many satellites then up there to really have an impact on, cleaning the orbit. But
Right.
And maybe something else for our robots, to do.
The Gundam robots.
100%. I mean, how should a human do that? Yeah.
Shoot them into space.
Send Wally up there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But if I were a Hollywood producer and writing a movie about space catastrophes, there would be this idea. If there are enough satellites up there, really crowded, and you have one incident, one satellite explodes or something like that, and this satellite creates debris, and this debris collides with 3 other satellites who then again explode and create more debris. You cause this avalanche of debris and everything gets destroyed, because if you have this critical mass and things are so close up there, you have this mass crash on the highway where, because it's very crowded, one accident leads to 1,000 accidents. And of course, to be honest, I have no idea how close these satellites are on this web. We're talking about 100,000 or millions of satellites, but maybe they are still so far away from each other that it's totally hypothetical what I'm talking right now. But the idea is if there are more and more, the risk of having this cascade of accidents should increase, at least mathematically.
I just remember in WALL-E there is this scene where they leave orbit, and this is exactly what happening. I really particularly remember that scene where they leave the orbit and they shoot through all the dead satellites, and it's just like this layer of satellites. You cannot see the sky anymore,
right?
Because there are too many satellites and they collide with each other. So I'm sure somebody already thought of this. And who knows? I mean, did you see the trailer for the Buzz Lightning movie?
No.
Who knows what's happening there? Yeah, it's. I mean, I can't say the word on here, but it's effing amazing. The trailer, you should check it out. I should put it in here. Next time I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's obviously targeted for adults. It's obviously like it's a kids movie, yeah, but it's obviously targeted for us who witnessed the rise of Disney.
I just wanted to say I love space thrillers, and so I'm excited to see the Buzz Lightyear movie.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I saw the trailer now that I think about it, but still put it in here so we can watch it again.
If our tech review is valuable for you, please give us feedback with a like or a comment. That would help us tremendously and it wouldn't cost you anything. And if you don't want to miss the next episode, just click on the subscribe button. And now, back to the news. Okay, let's jump to the next one. And this is me again. No surprise here. After I fixed my randomizer algorithm. And once again, I would like to talk to you about our Lord and Savior, the almighty NFTs. Let's say NFTs are dead, but long live the dynamic NFTs, because there is now a new generation of NFTs, which is not that new because last year the technology kind of exists. But there's a new company called Revise, a startup, who just collected $3.5 million for their idea. And they are creating now dynamic NFTs, or providing a platform for dynamic NFTs. And the idea is that usually if you buy like NFT art, it's an image, an NFT, like a JPEG or something like that, and you can't really do a lot of this with this. But it is possible to create something like the smart contract as an NFT that consumes external data. For example, you have a football NFT, and this one reads the football statistics of the Super Bowl or something like that. And whenever your home team NFT wins, or like the game, the team wins, this NFT gets like an automated boost and changed color or something like that. And this is hard-coded in the NFT itself, so this is immutable. This is still like this non-fungible token, but the input data is read from dynamic sources, like the weather forecast or maybe the numbers of views on this live stream. Yeah, the moment we hit 1,000 views, the TechReview NFT then changes into status silver or something like that, and the owner then can do something more with it. And this idea is quite smart, because this way the user actually gets something out of this NFT based on external factors. And there was another company that was linked in this article where they said this was from last year. This was a social media collaboration platform. I forgot which one it was. Let me. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But they already started with this. Oh yeah, PeerPop, right. It was PeerPop. They already started with this concept where they said, if you buy an NFT for a video of your favorite influencer, then you can directly tap into the success of this influencer, because if this video or this posting reaches a certain degree of popularity, it changes, for example, the status to allow you access to a private Discord server with your favorite influencer or something like that. And so you, as an investor or as the buyer of this NFT, you feel like an investor. You invested in this particular influencer or your movie star or whatever. And this is a little bit different than simply owning a GIF or something, because you actually own a part of the success story of this influencer. The big pain that I have with this concept is that the quality of blockchain and NFTs is that they are immutable. They can't be changed. That's why it is so valuable. That's why we are using blockchain technology for that. And the moment we now use NFTs that have a direct dependency to dynamic input, which comes from somewhere. I could create S3 bucket on AWS and manipulate the data as I see fit. And this directly influences the state of my NFT. It kind of renders this concept ad absurdum because it's not immutable anymore, because it's directly depending on dynamic data wherever it comes from. Even though the source code is immutable, stored in the blockchain, it's still not changeable. But the face of the NFT, the behavior, is then steered by external influence. And that's why I'm not sure if this is really a concept that will change the way we are interacting with NFTs, because it's kind of weird. But on the other side, I'm sure that this concept of buying a JPEG for $1 million will disappear at some point because people lose fun with this game.
I mean, you can also manipulate the dynamic in the other direction, right? Like, of course, that it's getting more popular and you reach like a certain status, silver or gold or whatever. But you can also probably way down, like if then the, I don't know, dislike on that video increases over the likes, and I don't know, you can fall back as well.
Sure.
So then it's, yeah.
Right,
this can get manipulated as well. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Vincent.
No, please.
Yeah, no, I just want to say this is of course part of the game. When I couple it with the success of my social media post, then of course if I go there and click or I spread links to make it more popular, this would be legal manipulation because I directly help my influencer getting more popular, and this is kind of what I want as an influencer when I sell this NFT. But nobody controls what dependency I build in there as a developer. And so maybe I do something like a universal data source like the weather forecast at weather.com, and I can't influence weather, or I can't influence the weather report of weather.com. But nobody hinders me to build something like my own data source where I say I have like this gaming server and the NFTs collect stats based on whatever. And if I don't like the stats, then I go to the server and I manipulate. And that's exactly the reason why people are using blockchains, because this is not an option if we are using blockchain. I can't manipulate the blockchain. But now that I can create my own server and my own data source, I can do whatever I want. Yeah. That's why I say it kind of defeats the purpose of the blockchain.
Mm. Yeah.
I think two sectors will profit from this probably very much, because I think it's super dangerous. Tyke, you're absolutely right. I mean, as long as nobody really knows, I mean, the code will be transparent, I think, but as long as nobody really knows what is influencing the status of the NFT you are holding, it's super dangerous. But I think two sectors will definitely profit from this. But one is sports betting, because obviously you buy an NFT, somebody hits a goal or somebody wins a race, I don't know, and your NFT turns more valuable. Yes. And especially where emotions are involved, if you own an NFT of a specific Formula One race where something specifically good happened, well, this is super interesting. So I think that if somebody has an idea for a cool, like, sport betting platform where this is, the foundation to build up on, maybe now is the time to, raise your hand and call us in for investors. But I think something else is much more interesting. And this is when it comes to investments, because of course you're interested that somebody, like, if you want somebody to invest, you're more or less interested in that this person holds their investment for a specific time. So now looking at NFTs as some kind of token key to get somewhere, like to gain access to something, but also say you buy an NFT that is worth nothing, but if you invest a specific sum for long enough, it turns valuable.
Yeah.
I don't know, or say we're talking about so this is really deep now, but imagine talking about a cryptocurrency that still can be mined, and this has an influence on the mining process, or maybe it is not anymore. I think it's called at stake then, but I don't want to get into this. But say this is not mineable anymore, but this token you hold for a specific period then changes and is valuable in a specific cryptocurrency. This is super interesting. So I think if NFTs really are the future of investments, or these kind of tokens in any kind of way, I think that this is super interesting for making people invest a specific sum longer, or very particular on specific industries to get money in there, to hyper grow specific industries, because, well, they get value out of it.
Yeah. So no matter if in long term it will be dominant, the idea that you just had is probably true, that something like sports betting gets a completely new dimension and gets very interesting. And maybe this is a good time to actually check out these new platforms, because right now it's still very in this virgin state, and people are experimenting with this. So maybe we should quickly create something like sport bets NFTs.
I mean, OneFootball just became a unicorn, and therefore I think that the sports market is hungry.
Yeah. Great idea.
Yeah, if you want to know more about it, check out Gründerszene, is also on Axel Springer.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, of course. Vincent, you're up next.
Yeah, it's all about money today. I brought 3 articles all about revenues and how to maximize them with technology. So YouTube is really successful with YouTube Shorts, 30 billion views a day. And that's why YouTube now is checking out ads. The reason for that is a bit different than you might think. And this is the article tells you more about this, actually. So the idea of YouTube Shorts was there to, evolve from this very linear kind of style platform into a more dynamic platform, because we saw this change from long-term video to short-term video, stories, and then later TikTok, yada, yada, all of this. The problem with YouTube is that YouTube and TikTok and Netflix and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus, they're all not social media platforms. They're more or less entertainment platforms. So they all fight for more screen time during entertainment. So if I want to check out my friends, if I want to check out, I don't know, what Henrike, what she did over the weekend, I go social media. But if I want to entertain myself, I don't know, I'm cooking, I just want to sit on the couch, I go on entertainment. So YouTube tried to break out of this and do both, but they realized that Shorts actually is happening in the already existing YouTube time. And because of that, they were losing, or they are about to lose money in their ads sector, because people are just switching over from linear YouTube videos of their favorite creators to checking out what people are doing on YouTube Shorts. And because of that, well, they now have to do something to, keep the level of ad revenue or even grow it. And that's why they're now introducing ads. So, and I thought this article is super interesting because, there's nothing interesting about ads coming to a platform, because that's just how it is, except maybe for Netflix, but I thought the reason is super interesting because, well, obviously it is because Netflix, YouTube realized that Shorts were approaching a different kind of audience they did before, or they were hoping for.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because from my understanding, I always thought that YouTube Shorts was a flop, because when I looked into the stats and the traffic that is happening on TikTok in comparison to YouTube Shorts, I thought this was kind of dead and they were just doing it to keep up with the market and provide something in the short form format. But if you say that it really booms, it's very, very interesting. Yeah.
Comparing to TikTok, they're still smaller, but they're bringing already existing audiences to the table, and because it is all mixed together, and YouTube is very focused on creators and the connection between consumer and creator, they are more successful than you might think. That's my take on this. I also think that in this article there is this number. I think 40% of the people using YouTube Shorts did not have a YouTube account before, or something like that. So it is for YouTube really interesting because it generates new users, and therefore, even though the numbers are smaller compared to the big players like Reels or TikTok main feed, I think it's still very attractive for YouTube. Plus, again, whatever they do there, even if it is a not that successful part of the YouTube experience, it still leads to YouTube losing money on ads, because people use YouTube Shorts now and for some time, and it's it's still happening in the YouTube time of the day, if you want to call it that, and that's why now they have to do something to keep earning ad revenues they have been projecting for 2022 in the past.
I mean, because like now that we talk about it, like I often get a lot of YouTube Shorts, like from the algorithm into my YouTube feed, so that I actually watch quite a lot of them as well, and actually probably more than normal YouTube videos at this point. So and people get used to these short formats, full stop.
But if they start introduce advertising in the shorts, it might of course influence the popularity, because what I observed on Twitter, on TikTok, was that the amount of advertising that they are putting in there, I feel it's getting more compared to the early days of TikTok, where you really were just swiping through it. Right now, there's a lot of advertising, and it's true, I did not see this on YouTube so far. So maybe if they now start pushing that into it, it might reduce the popularity.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like on those regular YouTube videos, you have like the ad, and you at a certain point you can skip it, but you have to wait a certain seconds, then you can skip it, and then okay, then I can watch the full video, hopefully, in most cases. But if you have this delay and there's only like a short video coming, like, do I really wait until I can skip and watch this short video? Is that really worth the time waiting in the first place?
Yeah.
Probably not. I don't know.
But that now is really based on the formats that YouTube will create, because I mean the TikTok ads, for example, Tarek, I think you're absolutely right. TikTok ads are still on the rise. I mean, there are more and more advertisers going to TikTok anyways, but so I think that this is growing connected to each other. But I also think that it really depends on the ads, because Henrike, if they create an ad like the ones we know from the linear formats, just to show us a short that we might like or might not, because we cannot control what kind of content we're getting. With the linear stuff, I know exactly I'm getting a lore video about Fallout 4, and that's why I watched the video and I don't care about it. But for shorts, I think it really depends on the formats, and I think that this will differ from the ones we already know.
Yeah.
And of course, this will also influence the CPM they can get advertisers to pay on the platform, because of course the ads have a different reach then. And this in the end will, come down to the creators fund that creators get paid out on. So in the end, I think whatever path this will go down, the creators will pay for it.
Yeah. At the end, always
now when
the
I
creators.
think about it,
Then Henrike with Rocket Lab.
Yes. So second space content today. Rocket Lab is I think a space company from New Zealand or Australia. I think New Zealand, not sure. At least they launched their rockets down there. And with regards to sustainability in the space industry, this also is quite fitting, because they worked on a method to save their boosters after launch to make them reusable, just like SpaceX. But other than the SpaceX boosters who land like automatically on a platform in the ocean or on land, they catch the falling rocket with a helicopter. I mean, the headline says it all already. But I think this is quite a interesting and funny approach. Like, when you think about it, it's also like challenging to think like how this, the booster still has quite a lot of speed when it comes down. They use parachutes to slow it down. But still, like, the helicopter comes from above and catching it kind of from above while it still falls down, and then brings it back to the land. Just fascinating, kind of. And they tested it end of last month, so probably last week somewhere. And in the article, they gave an update that they actually successfully catched it. But they had to release it again because somehow the data was like, they noticed some deviations compared to the tests that they did. So the pilot had to release again. But they succeeded, and they just worked on it for 3 years. So this is also quite interesting how fast they came up with, like a prototype that is actually working. But yeah, the solution in itself is I don't know, simple, but I don't know, fascinating. There is a video in this article that shows one of the tests.
Please.
Not the one from last week, but one of the test catches, so to say. I think that's that one. I think you can scroll a little to the back. So there are the two helicopters. Then you can see how they release the booster before they catch it again while it's falling down.
Oh, so
they released it.
So it uses a parachute and is then collected by helicopter, or is it caught in...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so do you see the parachute there? And then there is like this thingy on top of the parachute, which then connects with the system that is at the helicopter. And so they kind of catch it in the air.
Ah, I see. The fake booster didn't fall from space, I see. From another helicopter.
No, it exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have to test somehow, right?
Yeah.
It's too crowded up there for real life testing.
But I mean, the real life test, it worked somehow, not 100% successfully, but yeah.
If they only worked 3 years on this, give them another one, and they're still much faster than most of the other space startups we've been talking about in the past. So pretty impressive, actually. And I mean, look at the resources SpaceX needed to create a successful landing of the booster. Yeah. If it's actually called a landing, I don't know if this is the right wording, but yeah, and I mean, this is like really a really pragmatic method to take care of this problem.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And you wonder, why make it complicated? Apparently you can make it as easy as that.
It's pretty, I mean, it's similar to the space hook method. Do you know this idea of the space hook shooting stuff into space, and that's why, and reducing launch cost by, I think, 80% or something like that. It's a very pragmatic method as well to shoot stuff into space, and it's the same concept. Very interesting.
But you're not.
Yeah, I mean, didn't we had that a couple of weeks, a month ago, also in TechReview, the one that is kind of the spinning thing?
Yeah.
Or is it another one that you talk about, Vincent?
No, it's exactly that. It's
this thing. Okay, yeah. I remember this.
this thing rotating very, very strongly and then shooting something in space. Except and not using this whole booster rolling kind of technology stuff. Yeah, interesting.
This thing.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't work for like all, sizes of rocket and payload, etc.
Yeah, I think you can't shoot like people in this.
No, it's also it's not for man, for crewed space flight.
I mean, you have to try at least once, but.
I mean, but it's the same now with this. I mean, it doesn't work for every payload. It doesn't work for. I mean, we're probably not talking about Saturn V going to moon here, type of rockets falling from the sky and being catched. But I mean, talking about the 100,000 satellites from before.
Because
how many launches will?
Yeah, because actually they work together with Rocket Lab.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They actually launched their, I think also last week or something, they launched their first test satellites with Rocket Lab. So yeah, they work together.
Full circle.
but this way of innovation, I think it's really ironic because the earliest versions of science fiction of spacecrafts was always this cannon shooting people to the moon or rockets to the moon. And we are using cannons. And so going back to this original design, it's so elegant to simply shoot stuff into space. Yeah, of course, it's not compatible with astronauts, for example. But as you said, if the plan is to fire 100,000 satellites into space, it would be so convenient simply having like this rocket launcher shooting and shooting and shooting, or maybe even these cleanup satellites that are only there to clean up space debris. You can shoot them up, they're collecting stuff, and they are coming down, being caught by helicopters, or maybe even landing by themselves or something like that. So this could be a real cool system of inconveniently going to space, clean up, and come back.
Recycling kind of method,
Yeah.
Cradle to cradle in space.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah, and I also love that.
We need is synthetic. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to say I love that more and more we have these articles about the private space industry and startups doing stuff with satellites and space debris and these things, flying to the moon, right? Flying to the Mars. Okay, we have one last article.
Yes. I took that one. This is about a few fintechs, but I'm only going to talk about the first one. It's called Bolt. I actually read another article talking about the same stuff, but it's from The Information, which has a very, very, very unsatisfying paywall. And therefore I used TechCrunch to get there. So Bolt is a startup that actually is quite smart. It's comparable to another fintech. I don't know if you know, Fast. And both of the startups do the same thing. It's really cool. They redesign checkouts on commerce. So you don't have to log in. You don't have to leave your credit card information somewhere and save it. And you're not quite sure, is this safe enough or not? So these startups, they created a software that works with an open API. You can integrate for commercial use, obviously you have to pay for it, but with partners can integrate this via an API, and this connects via a very safe connection with the server of the startup, and creates a Apple Pay kind of checkout where you just, click the product you want, or you select the product you want, and then just click pay, and another pop-up will open that actually holds all your payment information already, and you click on pay, and that's it. And this article actually deals about how Bolt right now is under pressure from big players like PayPal and Shopify, because of course they see this opportunity coming up that people want fast checkouts, that people are much more likely to pay for stuff. It is fast and very convenient, hence Apple Pay, hence Samsung Pay. I've never used it, so please, Android Pay, Samsung Pay. I'm sorry, Android Pay. I'm working at Upday, Samsung. Anyways, this is where I wanted to get, because I'm thinking Axel Springer is like the lobbyist for not collecting data and, offering fair price products to their customers and non-profiling, not a non-cookie based kind of advertising, all of this stuff that's like really big words we always use in our business. So my question now is, all our services require an account. Why not change that? Why not integrate something like Bolt, Fast? May it be PayPal? I mean, I don't care. Or Shopify or anything else, because I'm sure there are 10 more startups, I don't know, which do the same thing. But why not do this and make checkout in all of our brands much more convenient? Because in the end, this is what we do. I mean, we don't collect data. So why not integrate this everywhere? Because customer first.
Yeah, I could imagine that at some point of time, I'm not sure if this startup will actually accomplish this, there will be this disruptive force where one player manages to gather the big platforms, I don't know, like everyone who matters, and starts this driving force of unifying everything, and then everyone has to like jump on the moving train. Yeah, because you're totally right, especially now that we are entering the age of maybe the one or the other cryptocurrency will also be part of the payment process somewhere, that it really becomes inconvenient to have these many choices and options. And I mean, on the one hand, it's cool if I have a vendor who simply offers 10 or 20 different ways of payment, but at some point of time, it's not feasible anymore for the platforms to actually maintain this landscape. And so having something like this unifying one-click checkout, why not? Bold. Yeah, I have to check on this one.
Yeah. They actually lost a lot of. So they're also a unicorn that lost a lot of value in the past few months because Shopify and PayPal are getting stronger with their one-click pay checkout, and also their founder is kind of weird. But well, it's what I don't know the industry says. I'm just quoting here, it's really interesting.
It's confusing that they have the same name as the Bolt, the
mobility service.
Yeah. Probably they should think about changing their name. I don't know, because the others were there first, right? People probably associate Bolt with the e-scooters and or is it like the car ride sharing thing, right?
It's both. Yeah.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah. It might get problematic on different markets. It might be that in the US they might have secured that name, but the moment they go into other countries, it might be that they have to then locally change it to something else because Bolt is already claimed.
I mean, we don't know if this startup will actually make it. So maybe this problem will resolve itself with PayPal just, integrating this as a mandatory step in every PayPal website, partner website. We'll see.
Right. Okay. That was a nice closing statement. Fintech, I think we are not talking so often about fintech, right? Even though the space is huge and also growing. I mean, always like cryptocurrencies. Yeah, but even though in a very small round, thank you very much for all the nice articles. I'm always looking forward to this next time again with Chris, and for all the thousands of listeners and viewers who are watching us right now. On 1st of June, we will be streaming live from the TechCon, like a major technology conference here in Germany. And we will be on the main stage. We will sit on the main stage and do a live broadcasting from there, like a regular tech review, but from this big stage. And I'm really, really looking forward to this event and to see if we can actually pull it off to do this live stream live on stage with a live not studio audience, like conference audience, on the main stage. Will be really amazing.
It's the first time we will do that in person again after like 3 years.
Yeah, you are right.
I don't know.
I didn't even think about that. Yes, you are right. It will be the first time that we do this in person. Yeah, since 2020. 2019 maybe.
So the
I don't
only
even know.
2019,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Oh man.
the only question that's left is if we get the TechCon sweaters. That's something we'll have to figure out.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much for your contributions, and I'm looking forward to the next time, to episode 25. And until then, have a nice evening. Now that we are again in the same time zone, I can say have a nice evening. For me the same.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.